back to another episode of DoniaSports, and it's officially draft day, and it's the best time of the day, in my opinion, as an NFL fan, to talk about the last mock, and it is going to be going down crazy. This offseason has been entertaining. We have some crazy things. The Giants made a trade for the 10th pick, of course. We'll see crazy trades, of course, more of the days. A lot of draft stock has changed over the time. Last time we did a mock, Ty is going to have to deal with Dave Bailey possibly, but who knows. But starting the draft off, we're going to go one by our picks right here. So, first of all, pick, we kind of know who's going to be. It's going to be Fernando Mendoza. And the Raiders get their franchise quarterback, their guy, their next future quarterback, pretty much of the start the new era of Clint Kubiak and Tom Brady's chosen quarterback, if anything.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious. I mean, we've seen, thousands of mocks, and every single one has Fernando Mendoza going number one, so I don't think it changes today.
And, you look at his resume, 16, won a Natty, won the Heisman, has done everything you could ask for him to be. Great with the media. Mm-hmm. Can he just be great NFL quarterback in Las Vegas? We'll see. We'll definitely see how Clint Kubiak has done it. Clint Kubiak is doing a little different thing this offseason in OTAs right now. Players have to earn that Raiders shield right now, what they're doing. So everyone has a blank helmet to earn that Raiders shield right now. And I also love this. Getting Kirk Cousins. We didn't talk about Kirk Cousins if any time soon of this, free agency of anything. We didn't do a video of that. But, them getting Kirk Cousins, helping Fernando Mendoza is not going to throw him into the fire. So I absolutely love that.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of quarterbacks get thrown into the fire. Of course, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and, they struggle very much. But when you have a quarterback with a lot of upside like Fernando Mendoza, and you throw in a veteran who that is good, especially with getting blessed with Kirk Cousins, I would say. This could be great for Mendoza's development. And, Raiders weren't really shy to spend a lot of money this offseason.
No, they weren't.
That offensive line. Getting the prize of free agency, I would say, in Tyler Linderbaum. And obviously maybe potentially keeping Max Crosby now. He saw them spending a little bit of money during free agency and was like, you know what, maybe this team isn't that bad as I think. So we'll see.
Yes, we'll definitely see the Raiders. I definitely think they're going to be a winning team, but I don't think they're going to make I think they won't. We won't see the Raiders with the first overall pick again. We will not see them happen this again.
No. I think they could be a sneaky team in the playoffs. That's just my take.
They could. They definitely could. It depends how Kirk Cousins is. Kirk Cousins and Clint Kubiak can match those heads. It'll be an entertaining NFL season. We got the schedule dropping on May 10th, so we'll definitely do a breakdown of that, hopefully, of these schedules and the hot topics. So going to your Jets now. You probably you say your piece about how pissed off or how happy you're going to be.
Honestly, I've kind of accepted it towards I'm not going to be a hater because if you're a hater of what your team drafts, there's obviously a problem with you because, you might be hyped up by media and there's probably a reason why you're not the general manager of the specific team. So I trust with Moogie and what he's done within the past year. I really wanted Tyler Warren last year, but we obviously went with the less sexy pick, I would say, in Membu, and that turned out to be a great pick. So obviously, with Aaron Glenn's job on the line, I could see him maybe get desperate for some stuff, but with Moogie, I think he has kind of proved himself to be the long-term general manager of our team. And with that being said, I think we do go with David Bailey at number 2.
I agree with that. I definitely see Dave Bailey going to number 2 with the whole media shifted on him. He's a traditional edge rusher. You need a traditional edge rusher. He's around 6'4", if I'm correct.
He's 6'3", 250.
Yeah, and he'll be age 23 next year, heading 6'4". He's 6'4", age 23 next season of it. So this guy can pass rush if anything. He led college football in sacks last year for Texas Tech, leading him to a berth up to the college football playoffs. But my biggest takeaway is that Texas Tech's defense was unbelievable. Don't get me wrong, he was great, but there was a lot of veterans experience right there. The seniors, Rodrigo's, and a couple of other pillars on that defense. That was just a rock solid defense, and he was been good. He was been good at Stanford too, so he's not just 1 year wonder. He was always consistent. He just got big payday at Tech, if anything, and joined a team that's built his brand to a chance for him to be in this position right now.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he did lead the college football in sacks for the past 2 years. So obviously he's not going to be a bust, I would say. But, when you have an upside like, Arvell Reese, the fans kind of get worried to where it's like, we're really going to go with a guy who has maybe a safer floor, I would say, than Arvell Reese. But, David Bailey's still going to be a dog in the NFL, and I think he can live up to the potential of what, a lot of people are comparing him to.
Yes. So now switching gears to the Cardinals, and I have the Cardinals taking Arvell Reese here because I think they want it was when the day Dante Moore didn't declare, they all had their mocks of saying they're not going to get Arvell Reese. There's no way they're going to get Arvell Reese. Now, if Dave Bailey's boost his draft stock randomly out of nowhere with the combine and all that kind of stuff, and people are looking more into it, the Cardinals should benefit taking Arvell Reese right here, in my opinion. If you take anyone else, and I've seen so many mocks of them taking Jeremiah Love, they better not take Jeremiah Love. You don't need a 4 running back room. I know Jeremiah Love is great, but there's so much needs on that team. Like the Cardinals, with the Jets and Cardinals, you look at the Jets, they are going to target defense in this draft, and we know what they're going to head at next year because we're offensive draft.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals got to find everything. They got to fix everything. You got Marvin Harrison. There's the point that you got to even consider trading Marvin Harrison or Trey McBride because there's so much you got to fix on this team.
Yeah, I agree. I think Arvell Reese is going to go to the Cardinals at 3. The reason is because when you have a premium position like Jeremiah Love, he'll come in. If he goes at 3 or even maybe top 10, he'll be a top 5 paid running back in the league.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a running back who come in young and everything, and this position is a very premium position, I don't think they can afford to take him as much as they need maybe a linebacker or an edge where you can get maybe a hybrid player like Arvell Reese. And, this team does need a really lot of help. And the problem with the Cardinals is, obviously, yeah, they're really bad, but they're also in probably the most competitive division right now. And, they're just going to be playing the long game. Mm-hmm. And, Arvell Reese is 20 years old. When you have Jeremiah Love, maybe 21 years old, I believe, you're not going to be looking to contend. I think Jeremiah Love would benefit more with a team that's contending or maybe on the verge of trying to get a playoff berth. Not a team that's in a competitive division where, the teams will be at the top for the next 5 years. And when you have Jeremiah Love starting to hit maybe his peak, that's when the division kind of falls off a little bit. But I really don't see that right now with how young the Seattle Seahawks are and with how the 49ers have been able to kind of reload and then go back into each season with Brock Purdy being, 27 years old. So I don't see him falling off anytime soon. So, yeah, I think Arvell Reese might be the pick here.
I definitely agree with that. I could definitely see that happening. So, yeah. Going to now the Tennessee Titans. And this is, in my opinion, this is when the draft, you could say when the draft starts at 2 because depending on the Jets. I think this is when we know the 3 picks are going to be. We should be Arvell, Dave, Bailey, and Fernando. Okay, we know that from our thing. I think this is when the draft gets interesting. So, no one knows where the top 5 are going to go or, the rest of the draft.
Yep.
I believe Jeremiah Love is going to be the Tennessee Titans' future running back. You got to pair in that backfield. Imagine Cam Ward with Jeremiah Love in that backfield. And I know what Brian Daboll is going to do really good for that offense, if anything. My bad, Brian Daboll. So, I think this offense is going to be unbelievable. There's talks that they could potentially draft Tate at receiver. There's potential rumors of the whole Dallas Cowboys of George Pickens not going to extend a contract, and they trade for George Pickens in the 4th pick. So, there's so many talks right now what the Tennessee Titans can do, but I think you take Jeremiah Love, get your future running back, get your guy you need a Derrick Henry. You see the Tennessee Titans, you look at the Tennessee Titans, they've always had a great running back to build a great organization or pretty much their team. You look at Eddie George, Derrick Henry, they've always had a premier running back, and I think Jeremiah Love could be that next straight Tennessee Titan running back.
Yeah, you're forgetting CJ2K too. I do think they will go Jeremiah Love. Yeah, I completely agree with that. You're forgetting Saleh also really likes his running backs, and we saw that in San Francisco. Where again, obviously he was the defensive coordinator, so he wasn't really involved with the offense. But he still kind of had that foundation, is where when you have one of these insanely talented running backs, like Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs, especially CMC, the offenses can run off of those guys, and getting Cam Ward all of the help he can get is probably the best thing for his development. And we saw that with Brian Daboll too. He also likes his running backs. He didn't draft Saquon Barkley, but he came into that Giants offense in 2022, and we saw Saquon Barkley have maybe his second best season before that 2024 season where he just went and exploded. But these guys really like their running backs, and I think when you think of Tennessee Titans and what their player is, it's a running back. So yeah, I think this is where kind of the draft is going to start to get chaotic, and I don't think after this pick we will have the same picks for like every other pick. But our top four is pretty much really the same.
Yes. All right. Now going to the fifth pick, I think we might have similarities right here. I have the Giants taking, John Harbaugh has history with safeties, and I think he has to get his next Hall of Fame safety. And that's Caleb Downs. I think Caleb Downs, ever since they made the trade for, trading away their guy, Dexter Lawrence, I think it made science that Caleb Downs was going to be a Giant. I think they are benefiting that 10th pick because there were so many things of like, what do they take at that 10th pick? Or like, do you reach on a safety at the 5th pick? Or do you reach just way out until Caleb falls at like 10? I think Caleb Downs is the 5th overall pick right here for the Giants. And I mean, they need to fix that defense. That secondary is terrible. I know they got a couple good safeties back there. They signed Greg Newsome this offseason. They still got Banks they drafted a couple years ago. They got Holland from they got signed from the Dolphins. You still got Newblin. So it's a young defense. But I think Caleb Downs could step in right in the field and you put him in the box, you could put him in the back end. He's your Kyle Hamilton, if anything, in this league, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really like that pick, but I think I'm going to go different here, honestly. And the reason is because I'm going to have them going with Jordan Tyson.
Ooh.
And the thought behind that, going Jordan Tyson at 5 is because he has the highest upside. And a lot of people are going to hate on it because, MetLife and their injuries is just like mixing garbage with ass pretty much. But I do think they really like the upside of Jordan Tyson and getting Jackson Dart, his wide receiver, potentially 2, maybe 1, because we'll have to see how Malik Neighbors plays. But you're basically putting 2 wide receiver ones in one offense for your young quarterback. But going off the reason why I'm doing this is because, you have Kansas City at 9, who I really do think if the Giants do pass on Jordan Tyson at 5, I think the Kansas City Chiefs will go with Jordan Tyson at 9. So kind of betting on maybe Caleb Downs falling at 10. We'll see, but I do think they'll go with Jordan Tyson at 5.
That is a very interesting pick right there, I got to say. I mean, they do need receiver. They don't have Malik Neighbors heading into next season. And they love Jordan Tyson. They really do. I just think that pick it's a good pick, yes. It is such a reach at 5, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, Jordan Tyson is one of the best receivers. I think he's the best receiver in the country when he's healthy. But it is so difficult to project someone's health. I mean, you're betting against yourself. Like, you got to bet like he's going to stay healthy. And, I mean, we'll see if he can stay healthy. That's just my biggest concern with him is his health right there. So, definitely interesting pick right there by you. Going to the Cleveland Browns. And this is when a trade could possibly happen with some – depending how some teams look at the draft with these top 5 picks. Because the Browns they are open to trade with more values, get another first round ahead in next year. This is when it gets interesting. So teams, I wouldn't be surprised right here to jump the Commanders because you forget who's on the board. You got Sonny, you got Tate, you got Ruben Bain, you got the best tackle in the league right now. You got McCoy. There's still a lot of guys. So I wouldn't be surprised the 2 teams that could trade up. The Cowboys, Rams, and Chiefs are my big 3 right here that could trade up in this position to get a brilliant player, if anything, you gotta say.
Yeah, I can obviously see a trade here.
But if a trade does not happen, I do think the Browns get a receiver in Cardinal Tate right here.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. They need a wide receiver 1 really bad. And a lot of people are saying that like Cardinal Tate's a wide receiver 2 premium, which I can honestly agree. I think he really compares to George Pickens. T. Higgins.
T. Higgins. Perfect
T.
example.
Higgins is a really good comparison for him. And, if you throw T. Higgins in an offense as 1, I think he will flourish. But yeah, I do think the second wide receiver goes off the board. It kind of makes sense, keeping him in Ohio.
Yes, I definitely see that happening. Going now to the Commanders, and I think this benefits for the Commanders. They have already came out. It is either Caleb or Sonny. And I think or Jeremiah Love. One of those 3 are the big 3s for them. And I think they take Sonny Styles here. They didn't re-sign Bobby Wagner. They've tackled the edge rusher in this whole free agency with Kevin Castro from the New England Patriots and Adolphe from the Chargers. So they have tackled the defensive front 4 a little bit. But now it's time the linebackers. I mean, you got Louisville, yes, and you let go Bobby. I think you take Sonny Styles that can play in the back end and linebacker position anywhere you need. And I think you need that type of guy for Dan Quinn's defense. A guy that can get this defense right in the situations pretty much and be your next Bobby Wagner, if anything. And you don't want Bobby Wagner or like you remember last year, Bobby Wagner was guarding these receivers one-on-one and he got toasted every single time. Sonny can guard a receiver, if anything. That man is unbelievable. We saw what that guy did in the combine. That guy ran a 4.37, if I'm correct, or 4.3 or 4.4. I mean, that guy is unbelievable at his height. I've got to say.
Yeah,
So
I'd
I
say
think
he had the
Sonny.
best combine.
Yes, I think Sonny is 7th pick right here.
I'm gonna go a little bit different this time too. I'm gonna go with Ruben Bain here. I do think they need an edge rusher, and I think Ruben Bain is going to be really pissed to see what David Bailey go ahead of him, see Arvel Reese go ahead of him. And he's going to be like,
Mhm.
not for nothing, but I was probably the best edge rusher in the country last year, which I
Mhm.
totally agree. And you saw that
Yes.
in the college football playoffs. So I do think he'll kind of break the curse of having, baby arms or basically T Rex arms. And I think he'll go
Mhm.
to the Washington Commanders at 7. Yeah.
Okay. My next pick, the Saints. I have Mansour Delane. Delane had a great pro day. I think that was when he boosted. If anything, was that pro day. What they saw. It's pretty much that combine you find out a little bit, but pro days where you see how this corner is done on one-on-one drills and how he is with play, and he was great on those pro days. If anything, and I think the Saints need a corner. I mean, since they've let go Marshall Lattimore, they've been the most mediocre defense, if anything. Not the best. I mean, this is Kellen Moore's hot seat, if anything, and he needs a guy that can lock down the secondary for him. And I think Mansour Delane can take a whole side of the field, taking him pretty much the whole side of the field is gone with him.
Yeah. I think Sonny falls to them at 8. I really like that. I really like that pick for them because they lost to Mario Davis, so they kind of need a guy, and the Saints are like really good at kind of developing linebackers, I would say, and
Mm-hmm.
keeping them to be the captain of the defense. Kind of, if that makes sense. He won't step in as like a veteran like Demario Davis, obviously first years, but his combine showed that he could be a Fred Warner type of linebacker in the NFL. I
Mm-hmm.
think he's NFL ready. I think he might be the most NFL ready player coming out of this draft. Maybe Caleb Downs, but I really like the thought of Sonny Styles falling to the New Orleans Saints.
I definitely agree with that. Definitely, I definitely see how that is valuable right there. Going to now the Chiefs. I have the Chiefs taking the Francis Amongo, the offensive tackle. I think they need to fix that offensive line a little bit. I mean, since losing Joe Tooney, they have not been the best. It's a very young offensive line. Those tackles. I mean, also Orlando Brown. Do I believe in him? Hell no, I do not believe in him. And then they cut Juan Taylor, or they let go of Juan Taylor. This Mister False Start or Mister whatever you call him. Die, he could just step on the count if anything, but he's always perfect. It is what it is. But I do think they take Mongongo right here from Miami because he's the premier best tackle in this league. He's 6'5", he can do it all. He's a great pass blocker, can do it in the run. So I definitely think this is their guy for the future.
Yeah, I think they go with Mansour Delane because they lost so much secondary during the offseason where it's like their
Mm-hmm.
defense could be like really garbage next year, and to get maybe one of the best corners in the draft, maybe the best corner in the draft, I think that kind of builds the foundation of like our defense will kind of step up to where our 2023 selves are back, 2022, 2023, like Chiefs defense. And with trading, I forgot his name. What was his name?
Trent McDuffie.
Trent McDuffie. Yeah, trading Trent McDuffie. I think they need to get a replacement, and I really like the offensive line move here, but I still think they need to go defense.
You forget they got 2 picks. They still got 2 picks in this draft. That's the thing. They got two
That is
picks.
true.
They got 2 picks. They could definitely move around either way. They could attack this as a tackle pick, and the next pick more secondary pick, or they could take a secondary pick hard right here, or take an offensive tackle next pick. They're very
Yeah.
open to what they got to do, if anything.
I think they're. I wouldn't say they're in a really bad spot. They still got Patrick Mahomes on their team, so
Mm-hmm.
when you have Patrick Mahomes, you're in a good spot either way. So
Definitely,
yeah. I
definitely.
think they could double dip though in secondary because they lost like everyone. They lost
They
like
did.
Brian Duffy.
They lost a lot. Jalen Watson too. So they have lost a lot of guys in that defense.
Mhm.
Going to the Giants. I have the Giants. You had them taking Jordan Tyson at the 5th. I have them taking him at the 10th. I think they are going to benefit taking Jordan at the 10. I think Jordan will fall to 10, and it's more likely because Caleb, we do not know what Caleb's going to fall. Pretty much, he's the biggest what if, but I think you will definitely guarantee to get Jordan outside the top 10 right there.
Yeah, I think Caleb Downs falls to 10. Honestly, and I think
So we pretty much flip flop right there.
yeah.
So going to Tennessee, not Tennessee.
Miami.
The Dolphins. I am taking Jerry McCoy. I think they need Jamar McCoy. He's the second best corner. His pro day was unbelievable too. People are saying his health is the biggest concern. coming back off it. He didn't play all last year with the knee injury, but I think he's the second best corner. If anything, he was the best corner in the 2024 college football season. What he did for Tennessee was unbelievable. Pretty much led them to one of the best defenses we've seen in college football last year or 2 years ago, until they lost, to Jeremiah Smith and those guys, the natty team. But it is what it is. But I think this guy, they got to get their defensive guy. I mean, Jalen Ramsey, since they lost Jalen Ramsey, since they've lost so many guys on that defensive end, pretty much Harley has to get that next defensive cornerback or anything, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got them going Mekhi Lemon. When you sign a guy like Malik Willis at quarterback, you can't throw him out with garbage men. You got to at least give him some situation where it's like, you trade or you cut Tyreek Hill. That's fine. And then you trade Jalen Waddle, which is surprising, but also not surprising at the same time. Because, they're going into a rebuild. But I still think getting one of the best wide receivers in this draft in, Mekhi Lemon, just benefits Malik Willis to a point where it's like he's not going out there getting killed every play. And then they're realizing, why did we sign this guy to, $20 million a year? $5
I see. I mean, they definitely need a weapon, if anything. I mean, maybe they're planning for a 2-year plan to get Jeremiah Smith, man. I'm just saying, Jeremiah Smith wouldn't be a Dolphin. Who knows? It could
From the area.
But now to my Dallas Cowboys. Since Jerry Jones almost fell yesterday by Bill Clinton, we almost thought he was going to die, but it is what it is. He didn't die. He's living another day. Yeah. This pick right here, I think ever since the rumors dropped with him, the short arms and the car crash and all of that, I'm wondering if that tanked his draft stock. I don't know if these GMs are so biased. You understand, the GMs are so. I mean, look at Larry Tunsil, prime example. The second you do something bad for representation or your image, these GMs will sit back and do I want this guy? They will sit back. And the short arms, you forget, a lot of people are not big on it with short arms and everything else, whatever. We saw what Will Campbell did in the Super Bowl with short arms. We saw what happened. And, I know it's two different positions.
Out there.
Yeah, he did. So, I have the Cowboys taking Ruben Bain here. And if Ruben Bain falls to 12, you understand, it could be either way. If how your draft goes, the Cowboys can either get Ruben Bain or McCoy, in my opinion. And if they get one of those two players, I think their defense is getting up to speed. The second pick is going to we'll still look at the second pick, how it's going to go. But I think Ruben Bain will bring back an edge rusher. I know it's not a big target, but do I believe you need a rotation, if anything? I mean, back in the day when the Cowboys drafted Micah Parsons, it wasn't a need because you have DeMarcus Lawrence. You had other individuals on the thing, Brandon Gregory, DeMar Armstrong. You didn't need it, but getting a guy that can play edge rusher, like a true edge rusher for your next future, you kind of need that, if anything, because if the veteran experiences don't work out, I think these guys can be perfect. And I think Ruben Bain could be good.
Yeah, I have Ruben Bain going a little earlier, so I do have Jermod McCoy going to the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. I think he is the best corner in the draft, minus the injuries. And, obviously you can't have the Chiefs taking a guy who could be injured because, they got to hit the A+ on their pick. But I feel like the Dallas Cowboys are at a point where they're like, you know what, we'll go with whoever at this stage in Jerry's life to where it's like, we kind of want to win now. And I think Jermod McCoy can bolster that defense up to maybe back into contention. I really like the Dallas Cowboys. I really like Dak Prescott's probably my favorite quarterback, minus Geno Smith. But honestly, I do think the Cowboys will nail this draft where it's we're kind of back. They always have these moments where they're good, and they suck for a little bit, then they're back to being contenders. So I think this is the part where they're back to contenders.
Definitely. They'll definitely be right there. Now going to the Rams. The Rams, what I have them, if this actually happens, if Mekhi Lemon falls to 13, that offense is going to be the most dangerous offense in the league. That offense is going to be insane with Mekhi Lemon, Devontae Adams, and Puka Nacua. And we don't know if Puka Nacua is going to come back, sane, if anything. That guy's in a rehab center right now. So, yeah. I think it's right now between me, it's Mekhi Lemon or Sadiq right here, but I think if you take Lemon, I think it'll be absolutely perfect.
I think they go with Sadiq, honestly.
Sadiq? I think they go offense position. I think one of these two. I think you get make this offense so overpowered for Matthew Stafford, and you attack the defense this offseason really good. Your front seven is really good. You got Jalen Watson, you got Trent McDuffie. The secondary is not an issue anymore. It is this offense is make it overpowered as possible, so no one can guard your offense.
They're my Super Bowl pick next year. They got it.
They got to go back to
win the
LA.
Super Bowl.
Definitely, there's no excuses after that.
Yeah.
Going to the Ravens, I have them taking Vega from Penn State, Oliva Vega. They got to fix that offensive line, and that offensive line has been the biggest concern. Losing Linderbaum, losing that guy that with the 6'8", I forgot his name, Folo or Delofo, that 6'8" guard that can't move his feet for shit. But yeah. I haven't taken this Penn State guy. I mean, Vega, if anything, he can go top 10. He's the best guard in this draft. He's a Tyler Smith, if anything, or Tyler Booker, my bad. He can be a plug-in player pretty much, and he can be potentially a future All-Pro if he's healthy and stays course. That's how good this guy can be. I know guards are very replaceable, but if you get a good guard like this, you got to take him if you need it.
Yeah, I do think they go IONA too. They lost a lot of offensive line. They got John Simpson, but they need another guard to kind of give Lamar the best opportunity. And I think this team can also go to the Super Bowl next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they kind of get that offensive line back to being top 10 in the NFL again, because last year it was atrocious. And then losing Tyler Linderbaum, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Raps.
Yes. It is a big thing. They got to fix that offense line very ASAP. Got to do that. Going to the Bucks, I'm very 50 on this pick, and I think, this defense, they have not been the best in recent memory. I definitely think they go defense here. I haven't taken Pierre Woods right here. Pair him up with Villa and see how that does. I think Villa and Pierre Woods can be a dominant duo in the trenches right there. The edge rusher is a very more of a rotation spot for them, and I mean, they definitely need a linebacker, but taking C.J. Allen would be such a reach at 15, so you can get him in the second round and everything. But I think Peter Woods is the best defensive tackle in this draft, and I think you pair him up with Vita Vea, you can have a dominant run defense.
You're gonna laugh at this pick because I have him going with C.J. Allen.
Wow, yeah, C.J. Allen's a big reach, bro. It's such a reach at 15. He's great, but it is a reach.
He's a genius, though, bro. He ain't no high school Arvell Reese.
Don't talk about the 0.4.
Dude, that was hilarious.
Don't even talk about that. Eesh. CJ Allen, it makes sense because they did lose David, of course, retirement, and they need another signal caller for the next decade or next 2 decades for this defense. And I can see where you're coming from right there.
Yeah. I really like CJ Allen, too, especially even as a Bama fan. The man's a dog.
He was a dog. And for your Jets here, who do you have the Jets taking right here? I mean, I think it has to go offense right here. It's offense right here.
Let me hear it. I want to hear yours. I want to hear who you got.
I have taking Amari Cooper from Indiana.
Amari Cooper, baby. That's who I got too.
I think his draft stock went really good in combine. What he did with those, pro day 2 with him and Fernando looking really good, and those pretty much helping each other. And he's been underrated. I mean, I think he's an underrated receiver. I mean, he's great in the slot. You kind of need a slot receiver to pair up with Garrett Wilson, and I think he fits well. I mean, he can play outside, of course, but he's more of a great slot receiver in this offense.
Totally. I mean, you don't get one of the top 3 wide receivers in the draft, but I feel like this guy has such a good floor, and he seems like a decent dude. Like, he's really ready to kind of turn around the New York Jets. Bless his soul, because he is going to hell. But I think getting a wide receiver in this year's draft and then kind of developing him, if that makes sense, to where you won't have a rookie wide receiver next year. You'll have a kind of – but the problem is with that, I feel like you got to build a connection. Like, we saw that Rome and Caleb Williams, oh my goodness, connection kind of built off the rookie year, but kind of developing Omar Cooper, who could be a project type of wide receiver, into what his full potential can be, and then drafting a QB next year. I think that's really, really good success, or build for success.
Yes, I could definitely see that happening, yeah. Going to the Lions, I haven't taken offensive tackle, and this is very, very open right here because you still have all 4 offense great tackles. You still got the 4 best offense tackles available. And I have them taking more Freeland from Georgia. He had a great combine and one of the best combines for a lineman you've seen in recent memories. How that guy was moving, I kind of think that both rides it. I mean, you could go Spencer Fano or you could go Mongo right here, of course. But I think Freeland had that great of a combine. I think that they would like that, and he fits well for the Lions scheme if they're looking for the next Tyler Decker for this team or Taylor Decker.
Yeah, I got them going with Francis Mauigoa. I think this guy is the best
Mhm.
offensive lineman in the draft, and I think when you have the potential to get what the best offensive tackle on a contending team who kind of disappointed this year, I think it's a really good success for the Detroit Lions who are looking to kind of improve the offensive line because a lot of guys either left or retired, and just making it younger for Jahmyr Gibbs to go ballistic this year. Yeah, I think they'll
Mhm.
bounce back and be contenders once again.
Yes, yes, yes. I can see that. Going to now Minnesota. I have them taking Dylan Thayman from Oregon to get their future safety after Harrison Smith has officially retired. They got to get a safety. It's between me and the Toledo safety, if anything. But I think you get Dylan Thayman. I think you get your young safety for the next decade, in my opinion, if he actually lives up to the hype.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think Dylan Thieneman is going to be a Minnesota Viking, to replace
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Smith too. They're really good at developing these kind of safeties,
Mm-hmm.
and bringing in another white boy safety.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be good for them.
It
I
fits
know they
well.
like they like their Harrison Smith type of
They
guys.
do. They do. They do. Um, Going to now the Panthers. This team officially we're entering the playoff bound teams. The Panthers, they had a great offseason. I think to make this offseason top tier, they take Sadiq. You put Sadiq in the offense because they got to go receiver. I feel like you have both sides. You did really good on the defense. You got Devin Lloyd. You got who else? You got Jalen Phillips,
Jim Phillips,
the edge
yeah.
rush, and then pretty much. I mean, those are the top big swingers for that offseason. You get the best linebacker and probably the best edge rusher in the free agency right there. How you tacked, and now you go to the offense side. You pretty much need, in my opinion, another receiving threat because I mean we know McGlennon is great, but he needs help. I mean,
Yeah,
Bryce Young cannot just give it to. Leggett has been a bust. Xavier Leggett is a bust. I mean, the Coyote guy is done, in my opinion. I think he's a one. He's not getting an extension. He's done so unless he breaks out and has a great year. But I think they take Sadiq and
yeah.
get the future tight end for this team. And you kind of think with Sadiq, he can block, he can catch, he can do everything you can ask him. And I think he fits well in that system.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me try to fix this because my thing went down. I'm trying to, redraft everyone. Caleb Downs to the Giants. I got who do I have at Miami? Malik, Makai Lemon. Dallas. I had
McCoy,
Coy.
um,
Yep. L.A. I
Sadiq,
had
Sadiq.
Eek.
Uh-huh.
Baltimore. I had Ione. Tampa Bay. We had C.J. Allen's right. Sorry about this. A little technical difficulties.
It's all
New
right.
York Jets, we had going with Omar. Detroit, I had Maui Noah. Minnesota, Newman. And Carolina, I really do think. Hmm. Honestly, I do think they like going with an offensive. I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a bad spot for Carolina. If I'm them, I'd honestly trade.
You could. A lot of teams could trade up and get you there.
Yeah. I mean, not gonna lie, I like kind of going with Monroe Freeling here just to boost up that O lineman for
Freeman.
yeah.
I can see that. I mean, the offensive tackle is a position they got to fix. I mean, the offensive line. I mean, it was decent last year. It wasn't the best, but get more young talent
Hmm.
in that offensive tackle wouldn't be bad if anything. I mean, I think you just go offense in this pick right here.
Yeah. Sorry about
Now
that.
to the Cowboys, they love this guy. They were big on this guy. I know it could be a reach, but I would not be mad if we take him here. Jacob Rodriguez. Rodriguez.
Wow. Okay.
He would be unbelievable for this defense. He's a turnover machine. That would be the two things the Cowboys would fix their needs right there. Jacob, get your linebacker fixed. You didn't even attack the linebacker position all free agency, so you got to get your linebacker no matter what. I wouldn't be surprised. It would be so shocking. Knowing the Cowboys, they will always choose their needs over like who's the best player available. I wouldn't be surprised to take Jacob at 12. I wouldn't. We haven't tackled the linebacker position all free agency, and that was one of our
Wow.
biggest needs. I wouldn't be surprised. They like Jacob. They've talked about Jacob. Jacob literally has been really close with the Cowboys this whole offseason. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised he becomes a Dallas Cowboy right here.
Okay, that's surprising. I like it though. I think I'll go with Akeem Mesidor. You know, he's a little older on the older side, but he is very NFL ready. Where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if you guys really want to be contenders for Dak Prescott kind of aging, and then you have George Pickens and then CeeDee Lamb, who obviously I don't know, like there could be potentially that George Pickens is off the team next year because you guys can't
Good.
really afford him. So just
Mm-hmm.
having this year as your kind of contention year, I really think that going with the older guy with decent upside, coming from a really good defense in college, could benefit y'all.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see. I mean, Kim Mesdor was really good. Helped with Ruben Bain have a great season. He was a pairing with them. Had a great sack year. I think he had 10 sacks if I'm correct with that.
Yep.
Really good year by him. So I think he will be a plug-in player pretty much. I mean that it's not a bad pick because you kind of want a plug-in player right there, kind of bring you to win the Super Bowl really quick if anything. The chances of
Yeah.
win that, but I can see that happening. So Steelers now. I have the Steelers taking C.J. Allen. They hate Patrick Queen, bro. They hate this guy. They
What?
don't want Patrick. They don't. There have been so many talks of Patrick Queen getting traded possibly this offseason or cut so many times this offseason. And I wouldn't be surprised they just keep focusing. I mean, this pick is so back and forth for me. I could go take Ty Simpson here, and because we don't even know the whole Aaron Rodgers situation yet. We don't even know if this guy's coming back. It's looking like Will Howard's their quarterback, and we could see. I mean, Ty Simpson is invited to the draft today. If anything, he's invited to the draft.
Yeah, if he's
So
in like the green room or something.
yeah, he's in the green room. Um, do I think he's gonna win in the green room or maybe get his name called? We don't know. I mean, I believe it was 3 years ago from today or something like that. They drafted a quarterback with this 20th pick before, and his name was Kenny Pickett. And do I think it's a reach to take a quarterback right here? Hell yes, especially Ty Simpson. Do I think he will do well in the Pittsburgh system? I don't know. I have no clue,
Yeah.
but I digress.
I have Spencer Fano going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. This could be a really big surprise, but with
Mm-hmm.
Smalu leaving for the Arizona Cardinals during the offseason, I think they
Mm-hmm.
kind of need someone to replace him, and he's fallen. And if he's gonna fall this far, you might as well take the swing on it and like potentially get Aaron Rodgers maybe some help, or even Will Howard at this point. But we've seen a lot of teams kind of go with offensive line for Aaron Rodgers because
Mm-hmm.
obviously he's like 50 years old. So if you
Oh
protect him
man.
enough, could I don't even want to say win a Super Bowl. That would make me sick.
Yeah.
Super Bowl at the Steelers.
Yeah. Now to the Chargers. I have been taking Cade McDonald, the Ohio State guy. He's a great defensive tackle. He's if I believe, the second best defensive tackle. With him, with last year, what he did with Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, and that defense, pretty much. I mean, he was a veteran experience right there. I mean, that Michigan game was a prime example. That guy showed up, stopped that run, did not let anything happen in that game. Pretty much a big fat man to be in the middle. And I think Cade McDonald's a great pick right here for the Chargers. And the Chargers need to find how to stop a run defense or just bolsterize this defense a little more, if anything.
Yeah, I think they go with Peter Woods here. That defensive
Mm-hmm.
line is so bad, and
Mm-hmm.
Peter Woods falling too. I think he could be a potential Minnesota Vikings look for the pick.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, I think Peter Woods does fall a little bit, and this would be perfect for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. Going to now Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia right here. I think they're playing for the future right here. I think they take a tackle in K. Proctor. I think they're playing for the future right here. I think that they cannot have Lane Johnson hurt again, and Lane Johnson is getting bad in age right now, and we don't know how many seasons Lane Johnson has.
Yeah.
I think they take K. Proctor right here, and they get their future tackle right here, and K can be a rotation guy if anything, and be your future guy. And your future's still bright then because you don't know who's after Lane pretty much, and you get this guy right here, he can be after Lane pretty much. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I have Cannon Proctor also going to the Eagles. Howie does not care about the draft to where it's like, from the draft, what we need. He always gives the best player available, and it's worked.
Mhm.
I mean, they won a Super Bowl basically off of doing that.
Mhm.
A lot of their defensive guys, a couple years, but I think they still do go Caden Proctor because, this O-line's really old and kind of keep building it up to where it's like the Philadelphia standard.
Mhm.
I think they continue to do that.
Yes, the standard. And they did lose their offensive line coach this offseason because he did not agree with, the whole OC movement pretty much. So that's going to be weird. A new era for the Philadelphia organization, got to say that. So we'll definitely see how this team goes. Going to the Browns, I have the Browns taking offensive lineman. If he falls right here, this will be a biggest steal. Is Spencer Fano. I think Spencer Fano or Caleb Lamont could be both great picks right here. I mean, if they do fall right there, because both Utah tackles were really good. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know. It's been just bad sliding for them because them having greater players in pro days and golf combines and more results, if anything. But I think they take offensive line no matter right here, and I think Spencer Feo gets your future tackle right there. You got your receiver and Tate, and now it's time to get offensive line with Spencer Feo.
Yeah, I have them also going offensive line, but I have them going with Emmanuel Pregnon. I really like Emmanuel Pregnon. You can plug him in at center, you can plug him in at tackle or guard. I think he's one of the most versatile players in this draft. And him falling to the second round would be not really surprising, but I still really like this pick for Cleveland because, like we said, they got their wide receiver earlier in the draft. So it's time to build that offensive line. They did a really good job during the offseason kind of doing that. So just get the last guys.
To the Bears, I think the Bears, I know this guy has been a very underrated safety. This guy is 6'3", 6'2" at the safety. I think they take Manuel McKinley-Warren from Toledo. They need a safety. They didn't do anything. They let go everyone in that back end. And I think you got to get this guy. This guy's a plug-in player. He's a young, older player on the side. He could be that guy, that future safety if you got to ask for him because he's a plug-in. This team is a winning team, and they got to get the safety guy up to speed, if anything.
Yeah, I think they missed out on a lot of potential offseason moves with, Dexter Lawrence and obviously Max Crosby. I think they go with Caden McDonald here. One of my buddies, I've been talking with him. He was like, yeah, Caden McDonald's probably one of the most favorite prospects he's seen for the Chicago Bears. And to plug him in at defensive line to kind of get run stop is what the Bears have struggled on for years. But putting in one of the best prospects can be great for them. I could see also Emmanuel McNeil-Warren going to them, but that's 50-50 in my opinion.
It is a very 50-50 pick because they did not tack well in this free agency. They did not do well.
No.
In past years, they've been the favorite to, it's crazy. They've been the winners of free agencies or the offseason. This is probably one of their worst ones in the Pulse era, I got to say.
Yeah.
Going to now the Bills right here. I think they're going to take Akeem Meldor. Pretty much the same thing how the Cowboys, a plug-in player. Guy could be rotation guy right there, winning a chance for a Super Bowl run for the Bills. And I think Meldor will fit really good for right next to Greg Russell. Lucy Joy Bosa, of course, he's still a free agent. I think Meldor will be great right here for them.
Yeah, I think the Bills go with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren here. They need safety help, and this is kind of getting ridiculous to where it's like, Josh Allen, you got to win us the Super Bowl. We got your wide receiver one in DJ Moore, so it's time to kind of bolster that defense up again.
Yes, and I mean that defense. I mean losing, Sean McDermott. It's a new era. This defense has always been consistent. I mean, not the best against the run, but consistent, if anything. And we'll see how this new era is going to be with not having Sean McDermott in that offense. Oh, that head coach position now. Niners. I have the Niners taking a tackle. I know they extended Trent Williams, but I think Trent Williams is a ticking time bomb. That guy could just say, I don't want to be part of the team any second. And I think you need insurance. And I think Caleb Law will be perfect for insurance right there. And you could still put him at right tackle, left tackle. He's that type of player, if anything, more rotation tackle. And I think Caleb Law will be great for the future for this team because pretty much Trent Williams has honestly 2 more great years, in my opinion.
Yeah. I have them going with Keldrick Falk. Their edge health has been really bad, especially with Nick Bosa getting injured and coming off a second torn ACL. So
yeah, and then you got drafted Mikael Williams last year.
Yeah, I think they really need some edge help here, and going with Keldrick Falk, who I think is more of a project type of guy, has really high upside, can be perfect for them.
Yes, I can definitely see that happening with this team right there at that pick. Going to now. The Texans. I have them taking Christian Miller from Georgia. He's an underrated player. He's undersized a little bit, 6'3", 6'2", defensive tackle. I mean, I think you get a plug-in player right there. I mean, he's going to be pairing with Will Anderson and Dillian Hunter on that defensive front. I mean, this guy can make a little moves, if anything. I mean, that back end is one of the best back ends we've seen in history, and they should have been in the Super Bowl, in my opinion, with that defense they've had. But C.J. Stroud just said, let me be stupid. But I think Christian Miller will be absolutely steal right here for them and be a plug-in player for them.
I also have Christian Miller going there, and a lot of people are going to be like, why don't you guys discuss Caleb Banks? Caleb Banks broke his left foot, and I could see him
Mm-hmm.
falling honestly to round 3 or
Mm-hmm.
round 2. You know, we've always seen every draft there's going to be one guy who kind of falls, and I think that this year it's going to be Caleb Banks. I would be very
Mm-hmm.
surprised if he gets drafted tonight.
Yeah, getting hurt is the worst thing to happen. Getting hurt is not the best. Kind of ruined your whole draft stock. Got to say that for sure.
Yeah.
Um, Kansas City now back on the board. If this guy's available for them, back to my pick of like secondary and everything. I think Colton Hood. I think Colton Hood's a good slot, good decent corner. I know he's not a number one corner to compare to other guys, but I think he'll be a solid corner for you. I mean, I think you got it goes back and forth. Do you take a offensive lineman or do you take a corner at 29? It's really open back and forth. I think those are the two needs that you got to focus in this draft.
Yeah, I think they go defense again. I think they go with Cassius
Ooh.
Howe out of Texas A&M. They need some
Okay.
edge help, and
Yeah.
you know, I really like that pick for them.
Well, that would be a very interesting pick right there. Really.
Uh,
Miami, I have this guy falling big time. I just realized, but I have Kendra Fall going to Miami right here because I think if you get losing Bradley Chubb, better experience right there, and you said Kendra Fall is the most, if project of anything, and the Dolphins are they're not a win now team. I think this guy
no,
can definitely
hell
be
no.
their guy. To be able to build more of the future if anything, and this guy can be producing anything. I mean, pairing with Chop Robinson, I mean that could be a future duo right there. Chop Robinson and Kendra Falk, that'd be an interesting team. You got to say right there.
Yeah, I have them going with Colton Hood. You know, they went with Mekhi Lemon early on in the draft and got,
Mm.
Malik Willis as wide receiver 1 for the future. So going defense here, and especially with one of the biggest needs and cornerback, I think Colton Hood would be really high upside for them.
Yes, definitely, definitely. And I have the Patriots taking off the tackle in Max. I don't even know how to say his name, Anchor or something like that, from Arizona State. He's been underrated. A lot of people don't look into him. I gotta say, people say he's honestly the better tackle than a lot of these other guys. He's a more of a guy you can play him a guard and more tackle. Kind of a guy who think he was the highest PDF ranking, I believe, in tackles. I'm correct. Other than Masolo from Miami, but this guy could be a plug-in player and you could be ready for him. He's not a project. He's a guy that could be really good, and the Patriots need a guy that can be plug-in ready, if anything.
I have them going with Blake Miller. I really like them going with tackle here. You know, Mike
Yeah.
Vrabel's leaks came out today, so I think
Yeah.
you see that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Hell no. And they really need offensive line help. We saw that in the Super Bowl. We saw that mostly throughout the playoffs. They played really good defenses, but in the Super Bowl, Drake May got mauled to death. So keep building that O line for your franchise quarterback. They finally found him again. So
Sure. Yep. And now going to my last pick, the Super Bowl champs. I have them taking Jaden Price from Notre Dame. I mean, they need another running back in that room. I know it's a big reach to take a running back here, but I'm not surprised right here for them if they take a running back. I got to say, Jaden Price, you put him in. He's been in a situation as a running back too. He was decent for Notre Dame last year. Him, Jeremiah Love. I mean, if Charbonnet's your number one, get another guy who's been the number 2 running back for his whole career so far,
Okay.
and I think Price would be fit really well for this team.
The bad thing about Super Bowl teams is obviously they're celebrating all offseason that they won, but then once free agency comes around, these teams keep throwing these guys bags of money. We saw it with the Philadelphia Eagles last year. We clearly saw it with the Seattle Seahawks this year. And I think they do need some edge help going into the next season. And I think they go with another Clemson dude following that, TJ Parker.
Ooh, that guy was projected to be so good, and he just fell off so bad. Yeah, that man was supposed to be the next big guy.
Sure.
All right. Well, if that is a finish for our draft, I know this was a long video, but wow, draft day is officially here. Great night, can't wait. Let us know in the comments if y'all. We'll be doing a live stream. Like I said, around 6 will be our live stream right there. Tune in if you want to join it. You're more welcome to join. We'll be on Twitch and TikTok if I'm correct, and possibly YouTube. So yeah, thank you for joining this episode of DoniaSports. Like and subscribe, and yes, y'all have a great day.
Let's go.